What's up guys, CL Liquid here, back with another video. Today's video we're discussing the Pixel 7. Now it's been over a month since these came out and I've been using this and the Pixel 7 Pro, which I also have a video for if you guys want to check that out. But I think I've used these long enough that I could give my honest opinion on them from my day-to-day usage and pros and cons I've had with using them. So let's jump right in. Now I'm not going to do any in-depth overviews of like specs or anything like that. There's plenty of videos that have been done on those, so you can check those out if you don't know, but I'm assuming since you're here you already know what a Pixel 7 is and you know what it offers, so we'll jump right in. This is obviously the lemongrass version. I don't know if you can zoom in on it, lemongrass, but yeah, I usually go for all the special colors for the generation of phones, just to have something different, like the orange Pixel 4 XL, the pink Pixel 3 XL. I don't remember what I got for the 6. I don't remember the colors. I've already forgotten, so I traded those in for these. So anyway, I always get the special colors just because it's something different, and I actually like the look of this also. It's kind of I don't know, it's like a pale yellow. I don't know how to describe it. And then this is kind of a bronze, the metal part, visor and everything's kind of a bronze, but it's matte finish, unlike on the 6 Pro where it's got the shiny bezel. This is my 6 Pro here. As you can see, it's got the shiny gold bezel, and this is more of a matte finish. But I mean, I like both of them. I do keep them in cases, so I mean, I'm not too worried about them getting damaged, and I'm usually pretty good with my phones. But yeah, I like this color. As you can see, like I said, it's kind of matte finish on this one. I will say I like the matte finish better than the shiny. I wish they had gone with matte on the Pro as well. I don't know, I mean, this looks okay with the hazel color on this 6 Pro, but I do think it would have looked better with the matte. And you know, you don't have all the fingerprints on the side and as much scuffing as you do, but I do like the matte on this. That's really nice. The phone itself is nice weight. The design of it's more, I feel like it feels better in the hand this year than it did on last year's model. It was a little still too blocky, and then the only thing I liked about the 6 last year, the regular 6 model, was that it was, you know, it had the flat screen, so they did that again with this one, so I'm glad they stuck with that. Hopefully next year on the Pro models they'll also go with the flat screen. While I mentioned in my 7 Pro video that the curve on the 6 or on the 7 Pro isn't as bad as it was on the previous models, it's barely noticeable. I still would rather have the fully flat screen. So who knows, we'll see next year. Anyway, enough about that. Yeah, so the visor is seamless now, just like on the 6 Pro. They put it into the sides here, so it kind of flows in, whereas last year it was kind of separated. It went over to the edges, but you could tell where it was separate. The visor was separate from the rest of the frame, but they fixed that this year. So yeah, it just feels great. I mean, it's like when you compare it, I want to compare it to the Pro, but you can see the difference in the two. Like, it's slightly shorter, and as far as it's a little bit thinner. I don't know if you can even see it on the camera, but it is a little bit thinner, so it makes it a lot easier to hold and a lot easier to maneuver. I can reach to the top and pull down the shade while holding it with one hand. I mean, obviously it depends on the size of your hands. If you've got smaller hands, then probably still going to be a two-handed phone, but for me, I've got big hands, so I don't have any issues with reaching to the top or holding it or anything. Whereas with the 6 Pro, I mean, you still have to I can pull it down only because the feature allows you to pull it down from the center, but if I had to reach to the top to like swipe something away, it's kind of reach. I could still do it, but it's a reach for me to get to it. So I do like the portability. All things considered, I would say I like the 7 more than the 7 Pro because of the size, but since it doesn't have the camera, the extra camera for a telephoto, that's the only thing that I miss about the 6 Pro. And obviously that 120 hertz refresh rate is nice too on the 6 Pro, but there's nothing wrong with the 90 hertz on the 7. I mean, you're not going to notice if you're not holding it side by side with another phone that has 120 hertz. You're not going to notice it, so that part's not really issue. The battery life has been great. In my 7 Pro video, if you've looked at that one, you might notice that it has no SIM card in it. You get the alert at the top, no SIM card. That's because I've been using the 7 here for the last, a couple of weeks. I've been switching back and forth, but now I'm back on to the 7. And because honestly, like I said, I just like the little smaller form factor with it. Even though I'm losing out on that telephoto lens, I still like the form factor of this. It just feels better to use and to carry around. But other than that, I mean, they're both basically the same phone, besides those differences with the refresh rate and the extra telephoto camera that you get on the Pro. And I can't fault it for leaving that off to get it to the price that they're going to get it to. I mean, if you put everything on this model, then honestly, I don't think most people would go for the Pro. Most people want the smaller form factor now. I mean, the big phones had their times, but I mean, I think most people are happy to have a smaller phone. Now, I say small because this one is a 6.3 inch phone, and back, it wasn't that long ago that we were calling phones that were like 6-inch phones, we were calling them phablets. Now we're considering a 6.3 inch phone a small phone, which is crazy, but hey, that's the sign of the times. But yeah, the screen's great. The saturation on the screen is great. It's not overly saturated. The colors pop. I literally have no issues with them. As you can see, I mean, that just looks buttery smooth, and all the colors and everything are great on it. I've had no glitches. I've had no screen artifacts or any type of thing that you would run into with the previous Pixel phones. You had the blue tinting for a while on the 2XL, and had these black splotches on some, and then last year you had the issue with the radio wave for calls. It was like crappy. I don't know what they did with the modem for this year, but it's definitely better than last year, and the calls have been crystal clear. I've had no drop calls. I've had no issues with hearing anyone. I've had no issues with them hearing me, so call quality's been great. The fingerprint sensors definitely improved from last year. I mean, I may get like occasional, I may get like one where I have to tap it twice, but I mean, that's a rare occasion. That's if I'm like slightly off from hitting it, something like over here, if I'm not directly on it. But if I'm directly on it, I mean, it's pretty much every time. So that's definitely better than last year, because that was horrible there at the beginning when I had to get into my bank accounts and stuff, and you're like having to do it 2 or 3 times. But it's improved, yeah. So other than that, I mean, the speakers on this are great. Well, I shouldn't say great. They're good speakers. They're not going to blow you out of the water. There's not like super bass or anything on them. I think I want to say the 4XL probably had some great speakers on it. Those were, because they were super bassy, but not in a muddy type of way, so you had a lot of bass in it. And then the 6XL last year's wasn't bad. I mean, it had some bass to it too, but this year's they've kind of balanced it out. I mean, you still get a little bit of punch, but it's not like it was in previous model. But they do. I mean, they're loud enough. You hear your notifications. You hear it ring. So I've got no complaints about them. When I'm using speakerphone, it sounds fine. So no complaints there either. So yeah, the speakers, sound, everything's good, screen's good, scrolling good. I've had no issues with anything glitching, you know, or crashing. The fingerprint sensor's working. I mean, it's been a good all-around experience. I literally cannot complain about anything so far. You know, they'll be doing their feature drops. We'll see. I'm still waiting on that VPN that we're supposed to get with these. We'll see how that goes. I think I read something where it was starting to roll out, but I haven't seen anything yet. I don't even know how much I will use that. I mean, I don't know what I would use VPN on my phone for. I don't really do anything. I mean, I guess it protects you if you're like checking a lot of accounts and stuff on your phone, protect anyone from like hacking into your phone and seeing your account information or taking over your accounts, something like that. I don't know. I don't use VPNs. It's not really my thing, but it's, if they're going to give it to you for free, then maybe I'll start using one if it's an option. Anyway, that's a side thing. As far as the photos and pictures, everything's been great. I mean, I haven't had any problems with any photos I've taken on it. They've all been pretty crystal clear. Nothing cutting out. I mean, great quality, but I mean, it's a pixel camera, so you're gonna get great quality most of the time, in especially in good lighting, which we have here. But the outside shots and low light shots, they've all been great. There's, like I said, there's plenty of videos out there where you could see examples of this and people talking about it and showing examples of videos and photos. So I'm not gonna really get into that. I'm gonna try to keep it simple and just give you my experience with it. Moving on, I guess battery life has been great. I've had no issues with, you know, it getting ready to die on me at the end of the day. It gets me through an entire day until pretty much going to bed and plug it in. It's maybe at, I don't know, after a 13-hour day, 14-hour day, and I'm getting ready to plug it in, I'd say maybe it's at 18%. I mean, that's if, it depends on, obviously it depends on what you're doing during the day, which I'm doing, you know, texting, checking my personal email, my work email, use Teams, so I'm getting notifications from all those. I listen to YouTube Music or Spotify when I'm in the car through Android Auto. You know, so the maps running and all that is running through Android Auto wirelessly. So I mean, that's draining some battery, but even with all that, I still end the day. By the time I go to bed, I've still got, you know, like I said, 18% or so left, maybe more, depending on, you know, the day. But yeah, I mean, both this and the 7 Pro, I'll probably have a little more battery left on the 7 Pro by the time I go to bed, just because it's got a bigger battery, but it also has that bigger screen and the 120 refresh rate, which uses a little more battery. But I will say I have a little more battery left at the end of the day on the 7 Pro when I'm using that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So all I could say is my final thoughts, if you're thinking about buying the Pixel 7 or switching over to the Pixel line, making that move, you know, whether you've been on Samsung or you're in Apple and plan on moving over to Android, whatever it may be, probably your best phone to do that. Like last year, I couldn't recommend it. There was issues with the 6, there was issues with the 5, I mean, there's issues with the 4, and I mean, keep going. They all had issues. I've had no issues with either one of these phones. So yeah, that's it. I mean, like I said, a simple review. Wasn't really a review, just more just some thoughts of my use for these over the last month and a couple of weeks, however long it's been. And it's been great so far. We'll see when the next feature drop comes out, what they add. I'll check out the VPN. Maybe I'll do a video on those if anything new or exciting is released that the phone does. If you have any other questions, just leave it in the comments and I will talk to you later. Peace.